All rise. We will be. Please be seated.
Mr. President, with the prosecution would just like the record to reflect that Mr. Steinberg is not present.
Noted. Witness, welcome back. Mr. Keegan-Cartwell will continue asking you questions. Meaning, Mr. Keegan-Cartwell, your 10 minutes.
Mr. Witness, you said that non-Kalenjins were allowed to attend the 5 rallies that you said you attended and had these expressions, isn't it?
Behavior.
Could you also confirm that you said for each of those rallies transport was provided for?
Behavior.
And could you confirm that to the best of your knowledge that transport, according to you, was provided for by the people who subsequently addressed those rallies?
Behavior.
And Mr. Witness, wherever they were going to pick people, they were not selecting between Kalenjins and non-Kalenjins, were they?
Ilikuwa hivyo.
Now, Mr. Witness, I want us to discuss the fourth expression that you said, was used in all the rallies, being this, Kimaje oai kasit komye nikiagonin. Do you remember that, Mr. Witness?
Ndio, nakumbuka.
And Mr. Witness, you said that it meant that when the day comes, do the work according to our instructions.
Could my learned friend please specify the transcript reference?
That is transcript 92 of 21st February 2014, page 26, line 12 to page 29, line 18. Mr. Witness, do you recall that?
Ya, nakumbuka.
Now, Mr. Witness, what is the equivalent of work in the expression that you said was used by the two individuals, Koskei and Ruto?
Kwangu sikujua ni kazi gani.
That's not my question, Mr. Witness. I want the exact Kalenjin word for work in Kalenjin.
Mr. Keegan-Cartwell, can you spell the expression you used before we... I'm not stopping you from asking the question. Let's put it on the record.
I'm using the English word.
No, the Kalenjin expression.
I want it from the witness, Mr. President.
You go to page 66, line 2 and 3. You used certain expression.
Yes, I can do that.
Can we do that?
Mr. Witness, you said in the order we had used, the fourth expression that the two individuals used was Kimaje owai kasit komye ne kiagonin. Do you confirm that's what, according to you, was said, Mr. Witness?
Yeah, ni haya.
Mr. President, do I need to spell? Or, the spelling of the first word is Kimache. The second one is OAI. The third one is KAZIT. The next word is KOMYE. Next is NE. And then KIGONIN. Mr. Witness, my question is, what is the equivalent of the word work in Kalenjin?
That's it.
And
interpretation. Yes, the witness said a word in Kalenjin, but we've all been using certain expressions repeatedly. If the witness said it, the interpretation bush should be able to pick up that word. Can you ask the question again, please?
Mr. Witness, did you say the equivalent for work is kasit?
Nilisema kasit.
The spelling for that is KAZIT.
And the witness responded saying something before you spelled.
Mr. Witness, let me ask you again. Did you say that the equivalent for the word work in Kalenjin is kasit?
Wewe unaimaliza kwa haraka. Hapo unavuta.
All right, witness, the word kazit, does it mean work?
Ndiyo.
And Mr. Witness, it is your testimony that that word is a Kalenjin word, kasit.
Neno like Kalenjin.
If I prompted you, Mr. Witness, that it is actually a Kiswahili word, what would you say?
Wangu nilichukulia Kalenjin.
Mr. Witness, could you give us the Kiswahili word for work?
Kazi.
And kasi is KAZI. Mr. Witness, would you say you are proficient in Kiswahili, in Kalenjin, sorry?
Nakielewa.
Can you write in Kalenjin, Mr. Witness?
siwezi nikaandike.
Can you read in Kalenjin, Mr. Witness?
Siwezi nikasome.
And Mr. Witness, if you are in a situation where people are talking in Kalenjin, would you admit that you would miss out the meanings of some words and some expressions?
Kiongea Kalenjin naelewa.
Lastly, on that point, Mr. Witness, you have no idea of any other word that is equivalent to work in English in Kalenjin other than kasit.
Can you rephrase that question?
Mr. Witness, I had asked you the equivalent of the word work in Kalenjin, and you said kasit. Now, my question, Mr. Witness, is could you confirm if you are aware of any other word that is equivalent to work in Kalenjin?
Naweza kulitamka.
Please do.
Oisiet.
Do you want me to spell that, Mr. President? That is B-O-I-S-Y-E-T. Mr. Witness, just so that it goes, you confirm on record, did you say Boishet?
Oisiet.
I heard boys here. I did not hear the T at the end of it, but
I also heard the witness seem not to have the T at the end. And
yes,
I can leave that issue there, Mr.
we
President.
can leave that issue. But you, to round up that, you have to put to him, do you not, that the word kazit does not mean work in Kalenjin. Are you going to put that question to him?
Mr. Witness, I put it to you that Kasit is Kiswahili and not Kalenjin.
Mimi naelewa ni Kalenjin.
Mr. President, I've exhausted what I wanted on that issue, unless the chamber wants to.
No, I'll leave it up to you. It's your cross-examination.
Now, Mr. Witness, I want to ask you something completely different. You said that you Mr. President, I'm not sure if this question was raised in the open session. I probably would go to private session. Yes.
And you've exceeded your 10 minutes, you know.
Your indulgence, my lord. I should ask only 3 questions on a different subject, and I'm done, please.
And you want to do that in private session?
I would rather, because I'm not sure whether the issue was raised in the open session.
All right, let's go to private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
Now, Mr. Witness, is it your testimony that in the year 2007, in your neighborhood, the Kalenjin circumcision was done in August?
Ndio walitahiri watoto mwezi wa 8.
And we are talking of the Nandi Hills area.
Ni hivyo.
And the last question I want to ask you, Mr. Witness, is did you say Henry Koske was the Secretary General of ODM?
Ndio alikuwa ni mkubwa katika chama cha ODM.
Mr. Witness, I am being very specific, and I'm referring to page 50, line 10 to 12 of today's transcript, where you said Henry Koske attended all the meetings because he was the Secretary General. Could you confirm that it remains your position that Henry Koske was the Secretary General of ODM?
Ndio.
Mr. Witness, I put it to you that you are lying in saying that the Kalenjin circumcision was in August, that in fact the circumcision ceremonies were in December. What do you have to say on that?
Nakataa.
Does it have to? Are you interested in whether or not it's a lie, or would mistake be sufficient for your purposes, Mr. Kigen-Katwa?
I am more interested in, without being disrespectful to him, to say that he is not saying the truth and that it is deliberate, it's not a mistake. Mr. Witness, it is true that the circumcisions that are done in August are actually Luya circumcisions, isn't it? If you know.
Hapo ninakataa. Sehemu za Rift Valley wakifunga shule watoto wanatahiriwa.
And Mr. Witness, I put it to you that you are lying in saying positively that you know that Henry Koske was the Secretary General.
Mimi ya kwamba nimejua alikuwa na ngazi ya juu katika chama cha ODM.
Mr. President, I would like to leave my cross-examination at that point. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Witness, that is the end of questions from Mr. Kigen-Katwa, lawyer for Mr. Sang. The next lawyer to ask you questions now would be Mr. Kan, who's lawyer for Mr. Ruto. Ms. Kan.
I'm grateful, Mr. President, Your Honours.
Salama.
We have about an hour left this afternoon, and I want to ask you some background matters. But before I do that, I want to offer my condolences on you.
We're in public session.
Your Honour, I'm aware. Your condolences on the fact that you lost some family members in the past. Do you understand that?
Urudie hapo.
Yes, I wanted to extend my condolences on the fact that you unfortunately lost in the past some members of your family. Do you follow?
Mr. Ken, we can move on. I think it's a thought that
Indeed.
counts from time
Indeed.
to time. Yes.
Your Honour, I'd ask to go into private session, please.
Yes, we'll go into private session. For how long?
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Witness, a few questions now regarding your support for the ODM. It's correct, is it not, that in 2007 you were an ODM supporter?
Ni hivyo.
And you remained a supporter of the ODM until 2008. Is that correct?
Sija kupata.
Well, let me put it in a different way. It must be my fault. You told the prosecution, and it's paragraph 27 of your statement, that you were a member of the Orange Democratic Movement in 2007. Is that right?
Ni hivyo.
And you supported that political party until 2008. Is that also correct, sir?
Hapana.
Did a time come when you stopped being a member of the ODM?
Nilisapoti ODM katika hizo campaign, na kwa wakati huu sioni hata haja ya kusapoti chama kingine chochote.
Witness, let me read something to you, and you tell me if it's correct or not. And again, it's paragraph 27 of the prosecution, the statement you gave the prosecution. And you say this: I became a member of the ODM in 2007, I stopped being a member at the beginning of 2008 because I had not seen any benefit. Is that correct, sir?
Hiyo ni kweli.
And the reason you joined the ODM is that you were attracted to the manifesto and the policies that the ODM were speaking about. Is that right?
Iko hivyo.
They were speaking about a government for all Kenyans. Is that right?
Ilikuwa hivyo.
A government for everybody, irrespective of their ethnic origin. Is that right?
Ilikuwa hivyo.
And one of their keynote messages was that wealth should be equally distributed throughout the country of Kenya. Is that right?
Ilikuwa ni hivyo.
A country where, irrespective of background, everybody had equal opportunities to work hard and advance in society. That's one of their core messages, was it not?
Ilikuwa hivyo.
And it's correct, is it not, that despite the economic progress that had been made during the tenure of the Honourable His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, his government was accused from many sides of being overly tribalistic, favouring one community over the others. Is that right?
Ilikuwa hivyo.
And those broad principles resonated with you. You supported those principles, and that's why you supported the ODM during the 2007 election campaign. Do you agree with that, sir?
Ilikuwa hivyo, tulikuwa nataka mabadiliko.
You want to change. That's correct. And you'd also agree with me that one of the key messages that the ODM party wished to project was that it was inclusive. It wasn't excluding anybody from the umbrella of that party. Is that right?
Ilikuwa ni hivyo.
You know, of course, sir, that the leader of that party, the presidential candidate, was the Honourable Raila Odinga, who was a Lua. You're aware of that, aren't you, sir?
Sio hivyo.
A lure, L-U-O, a lure for the transcript.
Ni sawa hapo.
Forgive me, it's my terrible pronunciation. I'll try to be more careful. And witness, you're aware that the deputy presidential candidate...
Can you clean it up, Mr. Ken?
Yes, of course, Mr.
The
President.
transcript is muddled up on that issue.
Yes.
We don't know what the witness was responding to Mr. Odinga or to the ethnic group.
The Honourable Raila Odinga is a member of the Lua community. Is that right?
Ilikuwa hivyo.
And his running mate, the Honourable Musalia...
No. The leadership part of Mr. Odinga.
And the Honourable Raila Odinga was the presidential candidate and leader of the ODM. Is that right?
Ndio ni hivyo.
I'm obliged. And his running mate was the Honourable Musalia Mudavadi, who was a Luya. That's correct, is it not?
Mudavadi ni Mluya.
And another...
Mr. Ken, let's do this. Why don't you... Let's go back to the basic rule of one proposition per question. There's too many propositions in one question.
Your Honour, be so guided. The running mate of the Honourable Raila Odinga was the Honourable Musalia Mudavadi. Is that correct?
Mimi nilikuwa nategemea kiti cha juu, hizi zingine sikuwa nashughulika nazo.
Have you heard the name Musalia Mudavadi?
Ndio nimelisikia.
The gentleman is a member of the Luya community in Kenya. Is that right?
Iko hivyo.
And being a supporter of the ODM, you were aware that he was running in 2007 to be the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Is that right?
Siwezi nikaelezea siasa kwa sababu mambo ya siasa siyajui sana.
Witness, I'm not asking you to master any topic. It's a very simple question, and please tell the court if you agree or you disagree. Being a supporter of the ODM in 2007, and going, you say, to many rallies. Were you aware that the gentleman running as Deputy President on the ODM ticket was the Honourable Musalia Mudavadi?
Ndio, naweza kusema nilikuwa namsikia.
Perhaps I was inaccurate in my question. In fact, he was running as Vice President of the Republic. Does that help clarify matters? In 2007, he was running to be Vice President in the 2007 presidential elections.
Ndio.
And perhaps you'd also heard that he was a member of the so-called Pentagon, the leadership of the ODM political party. You'd heard that, had you not?
Ndio, nilisikia.
We'll move now to the Honourable Najib Balala. You've heard of that person, have you not?
Hizo majina nilikuwa najisikia.
And when those names were being mentioned, were you aware that the Honourable Najib Balala came from the coast region of the Republic of Kenya?
Ndio, nimejua anatoka eneo la Pwani.
Who else from the Pentagon can you name to the court? From the ODM Pentagon. Can you give the court some other names, please?
Sioni wenye mtataja kwa sababu sikuwa nahusiana na mambo ya siasa.
Attending, you say, 5 different rallies as part of the 2007 election campaign. Can you mention the names of any other people that were spoken about on the ODM side in those campaign meetings?
Siwezi nikataja watu wengine, lakini mimi nilikuwa shabiki wa ODM.
But witness, you said a moment ago that you were not interested in politics, but you woke up quite early and travelled to different political campaigns. Why on earth would you do that if you were not interested in politics?
Nilikuwa nikihudhuria ili nisikie wakubwa wetu wanatuelekeza wapi tutapiga kura, wapi kwa nani.
So you were keen on knowing, you were keen on receiving information that would help you decide how to cast your vote. Is that right?
Iko hivyo.
Who was the ODM candidate where? Just one moment. Your Honor, I believe I can ask this in public because it's a wider area. But if there's any difficulty before the witness answers, I can ask him to stop. Witness, who were the candidates?
Wait. Let's go to private session for a brief moment.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
Yes, we're in open session. Again, the point is if you want to indicate that the witness had testified that he voted for Mr. Koski and Mr. Dinga, you can say that, but try and use it as a stepping stone to other questions, if possible.
Mr. Witness, you voted for the Honourable Raila Odinga as the President of Kenya in 2007. Is that right?
Nimesema hivyo.
And you voted for the Honourable Henry Koski as the parliamentary candidate in 2007. That's also correct, isn't it?
Ni hivyo.
Who was the Honourable Henry Koski's PNU challenger for the Tinderet seat? In 2007.
Siku hiyo ilikuwa vigumu, hawakutaka mtu wa chama kingine eneo la Tinderet. Kia alikuweko na sikumtambua.
do you know if the Honourable Henry Koski was challenged by anybody in 2007 in the parliamentary elections?
Alikuweko na area yetu walikuwa hawataki mtu wa party nyingine.
Have you heard of Benjamin Bett, Mr. Witness? Mr. Benjamin Bett?
Naweza sikia jina lakini kose kumtambua.
Did you hear anything about him in 2007 during the election campaigns?
Ile jina naweza kuwa nimelisikia, lakini kwa mawazo yangu singepigia hata mtu mwingine.
In what context did you hear the name Benjamin Bett?
Naweza sikia watu wakiongea.
Who was the ODMK candidate in Tinderet in 2007, Mr. Witness?
Mimi nilikuwa nimemjua Henry Koski.
Have you heard of the Honourable Musyoka Kalonzo? Kalonza.
Hilo jina nilikuwa nalisikia.
You've heard of the ODMK party? ODM Kenya? ODMK?
Chama Kalonzo namsikia, sasa sijui kama alikuwa katika hiyo muungano.
Mr. Ken, your spelling of Kalonzo. I've been hearing the witness say Kalonzo, but then you spelled it Kalonza. Yes.
It's my mistake. It's Kalonzo. It's completely my mistake. And so, witness, you don't know if the ODMK, the party of the Honourable Kalonzo, field a candidate in the parliamentary elections of 2007 for the seat of Tinderet?
Hapana.
Right. Okay, we can move on to something else. Is it correct, attending all these rallies, you say, 5 different rallies, that the ODM was quite, the mood in the ODM party, the mood in the rallies was quite upbeat? They were quite confident of success. Is that right?
Mr. Khan, can you will pursue this line of question, but before you move too far away from it, I need to clear something up with the witness. Would you mind?
No, of course. I'm grateful.
Witness, when Mr. Khan was asking you questions, and he mentioned the name of Mr. Benjamin Bett, you said you had heard the name, but you said personally you could not vote for anyone else. Why was that you could not vote for anyone else?
Mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa nimeonelea tuchague mtu ambaye ni tofauti kutoka kabila ingine.
Thank you. Mr. Khan, please proceed.
I'm most grateful, Mr. President. Witness, the ODM was quite confident that they would prevail, that they would win in the 2007 presidential elections. Is that correct?
Ni kweli.
And one of the reasons they were confident that they would win is because their leadership represented all different parts of Kenya. Is that right?
Ni kweli.
And the leadership came from many different ethnic groups, not from one. Is that right?
Ni hivyo.
I'm grateful. Your Honour, if we could go into private session, I'd be grateful.
Private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
Witness, I'm going to cover questions regarding the campaign, just 3 more questions. Attending these different campaign rallies in 2007, were you aware that in fact the Orange Democratic Movement was campaigning throughout the country of Kenya?
Nilikuwa nimejua.
It wasn't a battle, it wasn't an election campaign for the Rift Valley, it was an election campaign for the Republic of Kenya at presidential level. Is that correct?
Hivyo.
And you are aware, are you not, that the ODM leadership divided themselves up so that they could cover as much territory as possible during the campaign period? You're aware of that?
Nilikuwa najua.
And it's correct, is it not, that you went to the Nandi Hills Stadium rally? You've given evidence about that. Is that right?
Ni kweli.
And that was a very large rally, you say, correct?
Sema hivyo.
Thousands of people, would that be a fair reflection of attendance?
Ni hivyo.
And that was the only rally, the only ODM rally that took place at Nandi Hill Stadium in 2007 in the election period. Is that right?
Hiyo ndio nilikuwa ndani, sijui kama zingine zilikuwa zikiendeshwa.
But being keen on knowing who to vote for and being a member of the ODM and going to 5 rallies that you've spoken about, had you heard of another rally, another ODM rally at Nandi Hill Stadium during the 2007 election campaign? Or was that the only one?
Ule mwenye nilifahamu.
So just to be clear, witness, you didn't hear of any other ODM rally taking place in Nandi Hill Stadium during the 2007 election campaign besides the one that you've spoken about. Is that right?
Sikusikia.
Let me try again, Mr. Witness. Yes, I'm grateful. And you've given evidence about attending a rally at Kapchorwa at a football field. Do you remember saying that?
Ndio.
And in fact, that was at the Majani Chai Estate, Majani Chai, Chai. That was at the Majani Chai Estate, correct?
Hivyo.
Your Honour, the answer is not. I'm grateful. And witness, you didn't hear of any other rally at the Kapchorwa football field in 2007 besides the one that you've spoken about. Is that right? No other ODM rally besides the one you've told the judges about?
Sikuwahi kusikia mkutano mwingine.
I'm grateful, and Your Honour, with your leave, that may be an appropriate time. I'm grateful.
Thank you. Witness, we've now come to the end of our sitting for today. You will now be excused from the stand, but you will join us again tomorrow at 9:30. You will please not discuss your testimony with anybody while you are not in court. Okay?
Ni hivyo.
Court officer, please bring down the blinds and usher the witness out of the courtroom.